The Central Bank of Nigeria on Monday directed banks and other financial institutions to start charging a cybersecurity levy on all bank transactions. Welcome to Business Points. Today we'll be discussing the cybersecurity levy, the implication on the Nigerian economy. I am your host, Kikelomo Okeri. According to the circular by the Central Bank of Nigeria, the implementation of the cybersecurity levy will start in 2 weeks. The circular reels out that following the enactment of the Cybercrime Prohibition Prevention Amendment Act 2024 and pursuant to the provision of Section 44(2)(a) of the Act, a levy of 0.5% equivalent to 0.5% of all electronic transaction value by the business specified in the second schedule for the Act is to be remitted to the National Cyber Security Fund, which shall be administered by the Office of the National Security Advisor. However, in a related development, the House of Representatives have asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to withdraw the circular directing all banks to commence charging a 0.5% cybersecurity levy on all electronics transactions within the country. The motion is on the urgent need to alter and modify the implementation of cybersecurity levy, which was moved by member representing Obio Akpao constituency, that is Kingsley Chinda. Now, before we invite our guests for discussion, here are some things you need to know about the cybersecurity levy to be paid by Nigerians, according to the CBN circular. First, a new levy of 0.5% equivalent to 0.5% is applied to electronic transactions as mandated by Cybercrime Prohibition Prevention Amendment Act 2024. The levy is paid by the originator of the electronic transaction and deducted by the financial institution. The deducted amount shall be reflected in the customer's account with the narration cybersecurity levy. Thirdly, financial institution will deduct the levy and remit it to the National Cybersecurity Fund administered by the Office of the National Security Advisor. Deduction shall commence within 2 weeks from the date of the circular, May 6, and financial institution must remit collected levies in bulk to the National Cyber Fund account domicile at the CBN monthly by the 5th business day of the following month. And lastly, the financial institutions have deadlines to update their system to undo levy deduction and remittance. Failure to remit the levy can result in penalties, including a fine of up to 2% of the financial institution annual turnover. Let's take a quick short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, is Business Points. It's a program that will extract the Nigerian economy and the government policies. Today we'll be discussing about the cybersecurity levy. What will the cybersecurity levy cost Nigerians? As we all know, taxes and levies are fundamental aspects of economic growth, but when the burden becomes too heavy and it can stifle economic growth. Let's generate a conversation with Rabiu Hassan, an economist, chief investment partner, Positive Markets Investment Partner, a private equity and venture capital firm. and also he is a member of Abuja MSME Roundtable. You're welcome, sir. Welcome to Global Television. We are very glad to have you on this program.
Thank you very much.
Sir, firstly, what is the state of the Nigerian economy?
Wow, this is a very difficult question to answer within the time space we have for the program. But however, I would probably narrow it down to how an average Nigerian on the street will understand. The Nigerian economy is now on intensive care. An intensive care in a hospital is a place where very critically ill people are accommodated. And of course, in the modern metropolitan hospital, you see a lot of gadgets around and a lot of doctors around, moving around to see what they can do to resuscitate. And
okay.
That is basically the state of Nigerian economy is. And an economy is equally like an individual that has pulse here and there, that need health for it to prosper and create the opportunities that is needed. I think that has been missing for quite some time. It was actually critically ill. I May 29th last year, and the illness supposedly got worsened, and now we're moved into a critical care kind of thing. Every parameter that the world understands that is used to measure the health of an economy is not doing well in Nigeria. A lot of things, but principally for we Nigerians, that is we the ordinary Nigerians, we should of course see that, the only answer we would have is to suggest that those that have been chosen to lead the country, manage its economy, manage its security, bring stability, bring prosperity, have all failed to actually do what they need to do. So that is the state of the Nigerian economy. And of course, the subject matter that we're going to discuss on is one of those things that is very critical in contributing to the declining state of the economy.
Okay, the burning issue here now is the cybersecurity. What step do you think the government can put in place to improve the infrastructure and protection measures of the financial system?
Good. Now, before I address that question, let me address one very fundamental thing. Now, when we talk of cybersecurity, it is a fundamental element of national security. Before the development of the internet and the Internet of Things, cybersecurity was not an issue that is contemplated as a critical or strategic national security matter. Development of the internet brought technology and has changed the way we do things, and the risks involved in that and in a connected world kind of has created a lot of the challenges that something has to be done to ensure that the nation's security is ensured. But national security fundamentally is the responsibility of the government. The introduction of a levy for the purpose of enhancing an element in the mix of all issues that has to do with national security, I think is a very, very big political mistake that has been done. Now, if you're talking of cybersecurity as a component of the entire national security, and then you are now asking Nigerians to pay for it, That is tantamount to asking Nigerians to begin to pay directly, not through the various taxes that we have been paying, a levy so that you will get secured. And this is probably the first time in the history of the world, of the developed world, that something like this is cropping in. Nigerian politicians are very crafty, and when you have a very crafty set of people that actually have a lot of efficiency in the finesse that you need in doing things like this would always crop up. I cannot see where a levy will be imposed on Nigerians, because at whatever stage you impose the levy, it will still go down to the masses, because companies and corporations will always push their costs
that's true.
to the consumers. Now, when you impose a levy in the name of financing or supporting or preventing insecurity, however you call it, it's insecurity. Then I would suppose we should prepare ourselves to begin to see anti-banditry levy, which will be charged along the routes, which is being charged also. Nigerians usually take a lot of the cost of providing security. We'll now begin to see anti-robbery levy creeping in, because there is no justification for you to levy one aspect of the security and then leave the rest. And besides, the entire sphere of providing security for Nigerians has still remained a very critical subject that I think it's the biggest threat that we all are facing now. So that is the fundamental thing I wanted to see. But now coming down to the levy, that is the 0.5%, which has just been introduced. If you look at the clandestine way the bill has been amended, and the fact that that particular issue was what actually was introduced in the previous act. The bill was amended in 2024.
Yes, sir.
The act was for prevention. You understand me?
Yeah.
The act was now amended, and an acronym was added to the act, and then a levy was introduced.
A levy was introduced.
The clandestine way that it has been introduced will tell you that there is something very heinous in the minds of public servants that have actually, and their political leaders, that actually came in to create something like this. And if you would notice, it escapes the public scrutiny and the public glare that is needed, the transparency that is needed in getting that done. Before you say anything, the Senate has amended the act, and then go and implement. Now, the other fundamental thing is where the fund and how the fund is going to be generated. Now, the act clearly specifies that it is going to be managed by the Office of the National Security Advisor. And that the Office of the National Security Advisor is strange to the Nigerian Constitution. Strange to the Nigerian Constitution. What I mean by that is that there is never a place in the Nigerian Constitution where it has been said that there shall be the Office of the National Security Advisor, and that. You understand me? So, fundamentally, and it's constitutionally, a fund is created by law and then domiciled in an office that the law does not understand.
But the thing is, this cyber security is not a thing of today. It's not a thing that have started today. The cyber crime is not a thing that just started yesterday. It has been on for a very long time. Is it that there is no allocation to be able to check these excesses before now, that they have to put a levy on Nigerians to start paying? Is it that there is no allocation for that particular security check?
There is now in the last decade or thereabout, the national defense budget takes the biggest chunk of our national resources. And of course, cybersecurity should be part of it. And it is, and it has been part of it. Therefore, where this element, in the entire component of the issue of national security is isolated and given this impeccable arrangement, I think says a lot more than what we do. I, of course, know public servants and their political leaders could sit down and create artifices, things like this, but the objective probably is not the national security interest. Besides, every financial resources in the Nigerian defense and security system, I don't know how it is accounted for because I've never seen anything around that. And so where a fund is created and Nigerians are levied and it is domiciled in an office that nobody knows where it exists and nobody knows how it is managed, there will be no transparency, and then it tells you that politicians are, in one of those, they are regular games.
Before now, the bank charges is on the rise.
Yeah.
What do you think the government can do to cut the excess of bank charges, because it's becoming a menace?
Yeah.
What policies do you think the federal government can put in place to put the bank in check concerning the bank charges?
Very unfortunate for us in Nigeria. The financial system, what we call the financial system, is that system that accommodates the entire Nigerian economy. That's the lifeline of the Nigerian economy. That's the blood of the Nigerian economy. And in principle and fundamentally, it belongs to everybody that puts a penny into the system. Everybody that puts a penny into the financial system. Anybody that puts energy into the financial system is a very critical stakeholder and should have rights, and those rights must be protected. Unfortunately, I'm talking political economy this time around. Unfortunately, there's a cartel. What I mean by the cartel is that cartel can only, the nearest proxy that I can define that cartel is like the Bankers Committee. The Bankers Committee is a committee of the CBN that brings in all bankers. They sit down, and they meet, and they decide some of these things. And when they decide, the interest of the bankers is always prime than the interest of those of us that deposit our money into banks. And don't forget, this money is now becoming virtual. Virtual in the sense that you don't even see the physical money. Nigeria, the central bank has deliberately actually reduced to a very large extent the actual cash amount in the economy. At the moment, every Nigerian that needs cash must buy cash, because we buy cash from ATMs. We pay. And the cost of buying cash in a Nigerian economy is so exorbitant that it's like you're buying your money. That's what it means, technically. So it's very exorbitant, and when the Bankers Committee sits, nobody really bother about how banking services can be made to serve the people. It is always about how the people could be made to serve the interests of the bankers. That is exactly what we have. And let me give you one very small example. Now, if you go to develop the economy, you walk into the bank, you get loans. As long as you are somebody responsible and reasonable. You go into a bank, you get a loan. But in Nigeria, you don't get a loan. You go into the bank that you are a very critical stakeholder, somebody that is depositing his money as part of the functioning of the bank. You don't have right, because the day you walk into the bank and ask for a loan to start a small business, by the time they rule out the requirements, you gather your things and go home.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate. Thank you very much for joining us. It was a fruitful deliberation. Really appreciate your coming.
Exactly.
All right, moving on. Let's take a quick look at the forex markets. Following several weeks of a downward trend, Nigerian Foreign Exchange Reserve has witnessed a marginal resurgence of about $262 million over 19 days. The Central Bank of Nigeria latest figure reveals a cautious upward adjustment, with the reserve inching up to $32.369 billion as of May 7, 2024. From a one-month dip of $32.107 billion, the reserve experienced a steady decline from $34.45 billion on March 18, 2024, largely due to the interplay of dwindling oil price, debt servicing costs, and other obligations of the CBN. The reserve is currently at 26-day high when compared to April 12, 2024 figure of $32.612 billion. Nigerian Forex Reserve experienced a notable decline for a little over, beginning at $34.45 billion on March 18th. All right, let's take a look at the stock markets, how the GTCO gains. The Nigerian equity trading ended Thursday on a slight positive note, rising by 0.03% or 22 billion naira. The market close was driven by investors' interest in banking, insurance, and industry goods stock, despite profits taken in customer goods stocks. GTCO led the league of gainers after its price increased from 38 naira to 40 naira, adding 2 naira or 5.26%, followed by that of Owando, which increased from 10.20 naira to 10.70 naira, up by 50 kobo or 4.90%. Lean Africa also increased from 3 naira to 3.30 naira, adding 30 kobo or 10%. The slight close in green at the nation's bourse following the preceding day flat close comes as investor optimism over first quarter. Financials of leased companies continued to fizzle out of the market. The market year-to-date return increased to 31.40%. The equity market performance indicators, the all-share index and market capitalization moved from the preceding trading low of 98,223.97 points and 55.557 trillion naira respectively to 98,255.72 points and 55.57 trillion naira stock like UBA, GTCO, Zenith Bank, and Transcorp were actively traded as investors in 8,415 deals exchange of 676,422,174 shares worth 16.664 billion naira. This is where we draw the curtain on business points today. Join me same time on Monday as we extract the Nigerian economy and the government policies. You can also follow us on all our social media handles at Global TV NG. Till I come your way again, I am Kike Lomo Okiri. I celebrate you all.